Alright guys, this is going to be a quick and dirty review on the anycubic Photon Ultra DLP. Now guys, before we go into actually the printer itself, I want to show you the print quality you can get. Now, these three, this was printed off of a anycubic Photon S. This was printed off the Ultra, and so was this one. Now, you're immediately going to say, what's the difference in between the two? It's the resin. This DLP, unfortunately, I'll tell you flat out, you need to get the Craftsman resin. It has a ceramic in there that helps with the pixelation. If I can get close enough and the light will catch this just right, there it goes. If you look at this one, at the very tail there, you start to see a circular pattern. Now, it is also on this one, but you can tell it's not as pronounced. But the Craftsman resin, guys, it really pops out that detail. And like I said, that one, unfortunately, I printed the wrong file. I meant to print them all the same. But you can tell the difference. Now, honestly, playing with friends, this is fine. That's fine. But this, guys, we're approaching resin quality. And when I say resin quality, I mean cast resin. It is quickly approaching that. Give it a couple more years, and I think we'll be there. Now, let's go on to the printer itself. The printer itself, I got on the Black Friday special. It was $3.49. And there's no need of doing the unboxing and all that, because you guys can watch all that mess you want to. The pros and cons of this printer. It is DLP. And I will tell you this much. You can tell right off the bat all the money went into that DLP mirror system. The printer itself is plastic. Now, it's a durable plastic. I know some people are a little bit upset that it's not metal, but if you need a metal printer, I don't know exactly what you're doing with your printer, because you're not supposed to be hitting it with hammers or throwing it around or things like that. The screen for me is fine. I know some people don't like the small screen. The USB is on the side along with the power. Normally what I'll do is put a USB extender so I can have them out here, so I don't have to reach behind. As you can see in my setup, I have a Saturn, Elegoo Mars. The Mars is one of the original Marses, and a Photon S. Now, when we get down to the build quality of this, guys, they cut a lot of corners to get the DLP in there. And that's one thing I don't like about the printer. But honestly, depend on your average hobbyist, doing printing out what we're printing out, honestly, it shouldn't make that big of a deal as long as you take care of your printer. I mean, if you're not cleaning it and doing maintenance, you might have problems. Now, the top of this thing, you have to forgive me for just a second. Calm down. And guys, like I said, this is just what I've got. Oops. Anyway, we're going to have to do it this way, which is fine. Now, if you see in here, the lead screw has nothing in the top here. So it's just kind of free hanging like the ones all the old printers used to do. It's got one rail. Now all the knobs are plastic, and they are cheap plastic. They are not high grade plastic. That's something I do worry about with these knobs, is I can see these stripping out very easily. I mean, these right here will strip pretty easy if you're not careful. Now, the tray itself is plastic. It's not aluminum. So, honestly, I think depending on the amount you print, why is that a big deal? Over time, with the suction forces, what's going to happen is it will eventually start to warp this tray. If you can get an aluminum replacement, then that's what you need to do. Another big drawback to this printer is its feet are molded into it. There is no adjustment on the feet. So if you look at mine, you'll see that's why there's little pieces sticking underneath mine, is to level it out. Now, some people say, well, it doesn't really need to be perfectly level. It's just good practice, guys, to go ahead, level it out, and be done with it. Now, I did not print off, this was my first test print here. Printed out 4 of them. I always do 4 or 5 because, you might have a print fail. I printed out 3 of these to start off with the leg section, and I had 1 print fail, and then I moved over here to the Craftsman resin and had no problems. I have been told that you can use other resins, but you're going to have to play with the settings. And I mean, that's kind of up to you. There is a substantial price difference in between the Craftsman resin and the just regular old resin. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want to take the time to play with it and get the settings exactly right, then yeah, you can go with the cheaper resin. Now, if you do that, you're still going to have more pronounced pixelation. And it's hard to catch it just right. There we go. Now, you can see it in both. But to the naked eye, guys, this one right here, I mean, it is just about. Now, again, that's just what I've got. You can see the individual teeth on that skull. Now, when it comes down to resin printers, guys, I know a lot of you guys are going, what do I need? Well, resin printers are getting into the realm where they're kind of like computers. Where when I was younger, a computer came out and you would keep that computer for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, the technology just did not progress fast enough. Nowadays, if you buy a computer today, within a month, it's outdated and there's something new or a new video card that's going to give you 1% increase more. That's what you're starting to see in the resin printing industry. Just to kind of give you an idea, this printer is about 3, maybe 4 years. I think it's 3 years, 3 or 4 years old. This one is 2 years old, and I bought this one last year. Of course, I know it had been out longer than that, but we have gone this far in a matter of 4 years or so, maybe 5. So when it comes down to what you want to buy, guys, my best suggestion is buy the best printer you can. Now, I know that the Frozen 8K is supposed to produce similar results, but the price is a lot more. If the best you can do is $349 on anycubic DLP, I suggest you go for it. The build plate is about the same size as the Photon S or the Elegoo Mars. It is slightly bigger. When I say slightly, I mean 1 or 2 millimeters. It's not very much bigger. Now, I have not tested any larger prints on it yet. I have been told that the Z motor will start to skip if it's too high. But I did not buy this printer to print large things on. Most of what I design is smaller stuff. I am going to try to print off a tank using this, but I don't know how that'll go. So, when you're shopping for your printers, guys, if you're doing mostly infantry or very small things, DLP anycubic is the way to go. If you're going to be doing larger stuff, you probably want something in the Saturn range. Now, usability, the anycubic, I used to hate anycubic because of the way you had to level it. But they've kind of fixed that now, and the build plate has a laser etching in it. One thing you've got to watch is you're not baking your first layers on there, because I know on my Photon, I've had times I've had to have a hammer to actually break the print loose. I did not have that problem on the DLP Photon Ultra. I mean, they just came right off. So it wasn't a big deal. Anyways, guys, I'm trying to keep this short, but that's pretty much all you need to know about that printer. It is an excellent printer. It's well worth the money if you can. And I think this morning it was still $349. So if you can grab that printer, make sure you grab it. It's also whisper quiet. If it's running, it's barely audible. If you're sitting, like I have my setup where I have all my printers and a computer right here where I do my work, so I can kind of keep my eye on what's going on. I mean, it is the popping sound of the miniatures leaving the FEP sheet is louder than the machine running. There's no loud fan noises like it's about to take off. You don't have to worry about that. As far as smell, guys, honestly, I've never seen what all the fuss is about, which years ago I worked in a paint factory, so my sense of smell may be completely destroyed. But the only time I had any notions of an odor is when you take the top off. You kind of got that big whiff of resin. But other than that, I've not had any problems with resin smells. Now it does not have the filter in it. Uh, that's where it's at. It's a pretty basic printer, but with the DLP technology, I mean, guys, it is a superior printer to almost anything that I've got or seen running. Now, again, I know the 8Ks are, close to it. But like I said, for the money, I would go ahead with a DLP. Anyways, guys, thank you.